Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into literally one of the most famous corporate mysteries in history, the legendary secret formula of Coca-Cola. We're going to break down the history, the controversies, and the brilliant, absolute genius marketing that turned a simple, everyday beverage into a global obsession. So let's start with a provocative question to hook you right in. What exactly is the Coca-Cola company protecting with such extreme, honestly kind of theatrical security measures? If you visit their museum down in Atlanta today, you are confronted by this massive, incredibly imposing physical vault. But you have to wonder, is the true value actually the chemical mixture locked inside that metal box? Or is there something else entirely at play here? To figure that out, we really need to trace this story all the way back to its roots. Section 1. The Ultimate Trade Secret. Right off the bat, there is this dramatic, almost hilarious contrast between the company's official stance of intense secrecy and the messy historical reality of its origins. You've probably heard the modern myth, right? According to Coca-Cola today, only 2 unnamed employees are privy to the complete formula at any given time. And get this, they are strictly forbidden from flying on the same plane together. But historically, the drink's inventor, John Pemberton, just openly shared his original formula with at least 4 different people before his death in 1888. Not exactly a tightly kept secret back then. It's fascinating to trace the physical journey of the written recipe, because it shows how the company strategically turned a plain piece of paper into a revered artifact. Back in 1919, a group of investors actually used the written formula as literal collateral for a massive acquisition loan, locking it away in a New York bank vault. Once that loan was finally paid off in 1925, it moved down to a bank in Atlanta. And finally, in 2011, it was relocated and placed on public display at the World of Coca-Cola. Over the decades, it was completely transformed from a simple recipe into a sacred relic. Section 2. Origins and the cocaine controversy. Now let's flash back to 1886. It's absolutely crucial to understand that John Pemberton wasn't just trying to make a refreshing summer soda. He was a pharmacist and a Civil War veteran who had suffered a really severe saber wound in 1865. To manage his chronic pain, he unfortunately developed a terrible morphine addiction. So Coca-Cola, when he invented it in 1886, was actually an attempt to create a medicinal brain tonic and painkiller to cure his own reliance on morphine. And the very name of the drink literally tells you exactly what was originally in it. Pemberton's bookkeeper and partner, Frank M. Robinson, famously named the drink for its 2 main active ingredients. You had coca for the coca leaves, which, yes, provided a small amount of actual cocaine, and cola for the cola nuts, which provided the caffeine kick. Robinson just thought those 2 C's would look fantastic in advertising, and he even designed the logo in that iconic Spencerian script that we all still recognize today. But, as you can imagine, social pressures quickly forced the recipe to evolve. Originally, in 1885, Pemberton created an alcoholic version called French wine coca. This featured coca-wethylene, which is a highly potent mix of cocaine and alcohol. But when Atlanta enacted strict temperance laws the very next year, he had to quickly pivot and remove the alcohol. Then, amidst growing public stigma, the cocaine was officially removed in 1903. Interestingly, though, it's widely reported that the company still uses decocainized coca leaves to this day, processed by a company over in New Jersey, just to maintain that distinct, completely original flavor profile. Section 3. Unmasking Merchandise 7X and the Leaves. Okay, having addressed the elephant in the room, let's dive into the actual flavor. The company protects its modern recipe by shipping ingredients to factories as anonymous merchandises, numbered 1 through 9. We know number 1 is sugar, number 2 is caramel coloring, number 3 is caffeine. But the primary, totally distinct taste of Coke, it doesn't just come from vanilla and cinnamon. It comes from a specific, incredibly mysterious extract known only as Merchandise 7X. The factory managers know exactly how to mix it, but they literally have no idea what's actually in it. Over the years, several purported original recipes have leaked to the public, like Pemberton's own diary and the famous 1979 Everett Beale recipe that was broadcast by This American Life back in 2011. And you know what's crazy? Across all these leaks, the exact same essential oils consistently appear. We're talking orange oil, cinnamon oil, lemon oil, coriander oil, nutmeg oil, and neroli oil. Fascinatingly, modern scientific studies that have analyzed cola's aroma compounds have actually confirmed the presence of these exact botanicals. But whenever these leaks happen, the company swiftly steps in to regain control of the narrative. Coca-Cola's archivist, Phil Mooney, acknowledges that these historical recipes exist, even admitting they could be a precursor. But the company strictly maintains that the modern liquid currently sitting in your glass is entirely different. They insist up and down that nobody outside their walls holds the current definitive formula. And make no mistake, this secret is still incredibly lucrative today. In fact, it is so deeply coveted that in 2006, an executive secretary at Coca-Cola named Joya Williams actually conspired to steal confidential trade secrets, including formula information, and sell it to their biggest rival, Pepsi, for a staggering $1.5 million. But the plan failed completely. Pepsi actually did the right thing and reported the illegal offer straight to the FBI. That led to a dramatic undercover sting operation and her eventual arrest. No way were they getting their hands on that formula. Section 4. The real secret is marketing. So let's pull all this together because it leads to a pretty surprising twist. John Pemberton may have invented the actual drink, but a man named Asa Candler, he invented the mystery. Candler purchased the rights to the formula from Pemberton's estate in 1891. Now, Candler wasn't a brilliant pharmacist or inventor like Pemberton, but he was an absolute genius at promotion. He realized early on that claiming to have a highly guarded, almost magical secret formula was far more valuable than the physical ingredients themselves. He initiated this entire shroud of secrecy strictly as a publicity, marketing, and intellectual property strategy to aggressively set Coke apart from its competitors. And honestly, absolutely nothing proves Candler's theory better than the famous New Coke disaster of 1985. Coca-Cola actually went ahead and changed its formula because blind taste tests proved unequivocally that consumers preferred a sweeter taste. But the data missed human psychology entirely. Changing the recipe sparked massive, unprecedented consumer outrage and boycotts. People weren't just buying a flavor profile, they were buying a tradition. The company had to scramble, rapidly walking it back and bringing the original formula back to the shelves as Coca-Cola Classic. Historian Frederick Allen completely hit the nail on the head when summarizing this phenomenon. He wrote that Coke has always been greater than the sum of its parts. The firm's success lay in the idea of Coca-Cola. Think about that. Even if a rival company perfectly replicated the exact chemistry of Merchandise 7X down to the molecular level, they could never, ever replicate a century of storytelling, tradition, and global brand loyalty. The marketing itself is the true secret ingredient. So I will leave you with this final kind of provocative thought to consider the next time you pop open a cold can. Are you simply enjoying a meticulously guarded combination of botanical oils and syrups, or are you actually tasting one of the most successful, brilliant pieces of marketing mythology ever created? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and keep questioning what's really behind the things we consume every single day.